In the sweltering summer of 1954 at Tokyo's Haneda International Airport, passengers bustled through passport control. Everything was completely normal until a well-dressed middle-aged man approached the immigration counter. The customs officer examined his thick passport, and a strange silence suddenly fell. The passport looked valid, bearing visas from many countries, but had one glaring flaw. It was issued by a country named Taured, a nation that simply did not exist on Earth. The man was immediately detained for questioning. He was annoyed and insisted Taured was real, a country over 1,000 years old, located somewhere between France and Spain. The Japanese immigration officials were baffled. They gave him a world map and asked him to point out Taured. Without hesitation, the man pointed directly at the area of Andorra, the small principality in the Pyrenees between France and Spain. He frowned in confusion and then anger, seeing the name Andorra instead of Taured, even accusing them of using a faulty map or playing a trick on him. Suspicions grew. They examined his documents and luggage more closely. He said he was a French national, but also spoke fluent Japanese, enough to answer questions without an interpreter. He claimed to be a businessman on a frequent trip. His suitcase contained various European currencies, and his passport showed extensive travel, including previous entries into Tokyo. He provided itinerary details, saying this was his third business trip to Japan that year. However, when officials called to verify his information, the mystery deepened. The Japanese company he was to meet had never heard of him. The company he claimed to represent didn't exist. The hotel he said had his reservation had no record. Even the bank on his checkbook was fictitious. Faced with this stalemate, officials insisting Taured wasn't real versus the man stubbornly insisting it was, authorities decided to detain him for further investigation. They held him overnight. He was taken to a hotel near the airport with 2 guards posted outside his room on a high floor. The room had no balcony, and the windows offered no viable escape route. They were confident the strange visitor couldn't go anywhere before morning. Yet the next morning, the man had mysteriously vanished. When the door was opened, the room was empty. The mysterious guest was gone. All his identification, passport, driver's license, and related evidence had also disappeared, not just from the hotel room, but from the airport security office as well. The baffling part, the guards swore they never saw him leave. The door was intact, the high window was impossible to climb out of. It was as if the man had evaporated into thin air, leaving behind chilling questions. Who was he? Where did he come from? How did he get a passport from a non-existent country? Was he a time traveler, someone from a parallel universe, or simply a genius con man? Thus, the legend of the man from Taured was born, a thrilling, eerie urban legend that sends chills down your spine, hinting at interdimensional travel or the crossing of parallel realities. After more than half a century, this incident remains a mystery. Many theories have been proposed to explain it, ranging from parallel universes and time travel to an elaborate hoax, or even government-intervened conspiracy theories and supernatural forces. The parallel universe or multiverse hypothesis. The most famous and imagination-stimulating theory is that of a parallel universe, also known as the multiverse. According to this hypothesis, the mysterious man might have slipped into our world from a parallel universe, a place where Taured is a real country that has existed for thousands of years. Perhaps in his universe, Taured is the country we know as Andorra, differing only in name. And this man accidentally stepped through some crack in space into our reality. His confusion and even anger upon seeing that the map did not show Taured are seen by supporters of this theory as evidence. Believers in the multiverse hypothesis point out that modern science does not rule out the possibility of parallel universes. The many worlds interpretation in quantum physics suggests that infinite parallel realities could exist alongside our own. Therefore, they argue that the case of the man from Taured could be a rare piece of evidence of interdimensional travel, where the man accidentally stepped through a door to another world and became trapped here. Details like his sudden disappearance could be explained by him returning to his own universe before authorities could uncover the truth. Though it sounds fantastical, this hypothesis still captivates the imagination of many science fiction and mystery enthusiasts. However, it should be noted that the parallel universe hypothesis has absolutely no verified evidence in this specific case. All arguments put forth are based on speculation from the story itself, with no scientific observation confirming that a person could slip into another universe and then vanish like that. Thus, this remains a more speculative scenario, a way to explain the seemingly absurd with a possibility even stranger than the absurd. The time travel hypothesis. Alongside parallel universes, time travel is also proposed as a potential explanation. According to this hypothesis, the man could be a time traveler who accidentally ended up in 1954. If he came from the far future, it's possible that in his time, the country Taured had formed or Andorra had transformed into a country named Taured. He might be from the past or an alternate history where Taured once existed but for some reason is not part of our recorded history. The time travel theory attempts to explain some details. For instance, if from a different future or past, the man could have carried a passport and documents from his era, which wouldn't match the reality of our 1954 context. His disappearance could also be understood as him returning to his own time once his time travel mission ended. Some who favor the mysterious have linked this incident to secret experiments like the Philadelphia experiment or the Montauk project, rumored to involve military tests on time displacement and interdimensional travel. Perhaps the Taured man was a victim or participant in a time experiment and was flung out to Tokyo in 1954, only to be later retrieved back to his original time. However, similar to the multiverse hypothesis, there is no concrete evidence indicating this man was a time traveler. To date, time travel remains outside the realm of experimental science, and most stories about time travelers are largely anecdotal. Therefore, this hypothesis mainly adds a thrilling dimension to the story, rather than being a truly reliable explanation. The hypothesis of a mysterious hoax. This is the most practical and widely accepted hypothesis among experts. The story of the Taured man is essentially a hoax or an embellishment based on a real but far less sensational incident. A crucial clue lies in the name John Allen Kutas Zegras, an international fraudster arrested in Japan in 1960. The Zegras case is considered the real-life prototype of the legend of the man from Taured. Who was John Allen Kutas Zegras? He was arrested by Tokyo police in late 1959 for using a fake passport and illegal activities. According to records, Zegras was 36 at the time, having entered Japan with his Korean wife in October 1959 and traveled extensively in the Middle East and Asia using this counterfeit passport. Notably, Zegras's passport claimed citizenship of a non-existent country named Taured, spelled similarly to Turet, and was issued in Tamanrasset, the capital of Taured, in the southern Sahara Desert. In reality, Tamanrasset is a province in Algeria, and Taured might be a mistranscription of the name of a nomadic Saharan tribe. The passport was written in a strange, unrecognizable language, and Zegras would often display a stamped declaration below the fake national emblem to convince customs officials of his document's validity. This allowed him to travel many places without suspicion until he arrived in Japan and encountered overly meticulous officials. In Japan, Zegras had little money and tried to cash fake checks at a bank, leading to his exposure. Upon arrest, he spun a fantastic backstory, claiming to be a WW2 pilot, a spy for the US, and even an FBI and CIA agent on a mission in Japan. Zegras also said he was a naturalized Ethiopian and a spy for Colonel Nasser of Egypt, in Japan to recruit volunteers for the Arab bloc. All these claims were later verified to be complete fabrications. The Tokyo court prosecuted Zegras for illegal entry and fraud, sentencing him to 1 year in prison in December 1960. Immediately after the sentencing, Zegras cried out, threatening suicide, and used a shard of glass he had hidden to slit his wrists right in the courtroom. Fortunately, he was restrained in time and survived. Ultimately, as his pre-trial detention nearly equaled the sentence, Zegras was released right after the trial, considered to have served his time, and was deported from Japan. He left Japan to seek a new life elsewhere and disappeared from historical records thereafter. No one knows his real name or true origin, a swindler cloaked in mystery.
I believe the Zegras incident provided the raw material for the legend of the man from Taured. In fact, the name Taured, or Taured, and the fake passport details appeared in the press in 1960. Canada's The Province newspaper published an article titled "The Man with His Own Country," describing Zegras claiming to be a naturalized Ethiopian and spy for Colonel Nasser, with a passport stamped in Tamanrasset, capital of Taured, south of the Sahara Desert. Even earlier, in late July 1960, a British MP recounted Zegras' story in the UK House of Commons as an example of passport security loopholes, describing how Zegras used a passport with an unidentified language from Taured and traveled worldwide unhindered before being caught in Japan. Clearly, historical documents from 1960 to 1961 record a real person named Zegras using a Taured passport, but he did not vanish mysteriously, as the urban legend claims. Instead, he was arrested and imprisoned through legal procedure. So how did the real story of a fraudster evolve into a mysterious interdimensional traveler legend? Over the years, the incident was likely passed down and embellished through word of mouth. Writer Jacques Berger mentioned a version of the story in the 1970s, but added that the man from Taured was arrested in 1954 and sent to a mental hospital, a detail entirely incorrect. In 1981, the book The Directory of Possibilities recorded the story of the man from Taured as a strange anecdote, perpetuating the misspelling of Taured as Turret.
By the early 21st century, Japanese mystery websites began featuring the story of a man from another dimension arriving at Haneda Airport in 1954, complete with the familiar details, the Taured passport pointing to Andorra on the map, being detained and then mysteriously disappearing. Since then, the global internet embraced this sensational story and spread it widely as an urban legend. Thus, the hoax hypothesis is arguably the most plausible. The Taured legend essentially originated from the real fraud case of John Allen Coutus Zegras, but became distorted over time into a fantastical interdimensional tale. If the above explanation still doesn't convince you, there's one more. Conspiracy theories of government cover-ups, alien entities, and secret experiments. Beyond the aforementioned hypotheses, many conspiracy theory enthusiasts have proposed other unusual scenarios to explain the Taured incident. Some speculate that the Japanese government or an international covert organization secretly detained the mysterious man and covered up the entire incident. Following this line, the lack of documents or news reports from 1954 could be due to information being erased or kept top secret to avoid public panic. The man might have been interrogated in secret by intelligence agencies, then eliminated or permanently imprisoned for study.
Proponents of this theory argue that if an interdimensional traveler were real, governments would certainly want to keep him hidden to exploit his knowledge or technology, rather than revealing it to the world. This could be why he disappeared overnight, not vanishing on his own, but being relocated under official arrangements. Another variant of this conspiracy theory speculates about extraterrestrial or supernatural entities. Could the Taured man not be an ordinary human, but an alien or an entity disguised as a human, attempting to infiltrate our world? Supporters of this idea cite his many inconsistencies with our world, a non-existent nationality, an unreadable passport language, like an alien creating an imperfect cover. When detained, perhaps his associates or his own supernatural abilities helped him escape the holding room without a trace. It sounds like a science fiction movie plot, but this hypothesis still finds an audience among mystery lovers because it amplifies the event's enigmatic nature.
Additionally, there are hypotheses linking the Taured incident to top-secret scientific experiments, as mentioned earlier. Some think of military time travel or portal experiments. They imagine that in 1954, some laboratory might have activated a test and accidentally teleported a person from another universe to Tokyo. Soon after, they managed to retrieve the subject, hence the man's disappearance. This scenario blends government and scientific elements into an engaging conspiracy story. The government knows about interdimensional travel but covers it up and erases all traces. Of course, all this is speculative imagination, as no verifiable evidence indicates such an experiment occurred or any records related to Taured. In summary, conspiracy theories ranging from government intervention and alien beings to secret experiments, though lacking foundation, are part of the Taured man legend. They reflect a human tendency. When no satisfactory explanation is found, we tend to think of complex, convoluted scenarios behind a veil of secrecy.
The story of the man from Taured carries the primal allure of an unsolved mystery. It interweaves elements of reality and the surreal. To date, most evidence suggests it is merely a legend and a hoax. Yet, precisely this entanglement of fact and fiction makes people want to believe in the bizarre. We live in a world where everything seems explored and explained, so stories like the man from Taured are like a door cracked open to realms of infinite possibility. Who knows? Among the crowds passing through customs each day, there might be someone present who doesn't belong to this world. And what makes this story intriguing isn't necessarily the idea of an interdimensional being in real life, but the notion that we likely understand only a small part of our reality. The incident of the man from Taured, whether real or not, raises a question. If one day you encountered a person with a completely illogical identity like that, what would you do? Would you believe they're just a fraudster, or dare to think that the veil separating worlds has thinned a little? Mysteries like this place us on the boundary of perception, where reality and fantasy blur. Ultimately, the man from Taured may just be an embroidered tale, but it will live on as a modern myth. It reminds us of humanity's passion for exploring the unknown, the allure of supernatural hypotheses, and the lesson of caution toward things too sensational. When night falls and you're in an unfamiliar airport, look around. Who knows, among the crowd there might be someone holding a passport from a country that never existed. That's all for this video. What do you think of this explanation? If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. For now, goodbye and see you next time.